on a mission to earn 1,000 platinum trophies before we hit 1 million subscribers. And today we're trying to get platinum 105 Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered. To make this interesting, I decided that I was going to give myself 1 week's time to platinum the game, or I would shave my head completely bald here at the end of the video. This video is obviously going to spoil the story of the game, so major disclaimer, spoiler warning, all that stuff. I did live stream this entire playthrough, so if you want to check that out, I'll put a link down in the description, or it should be up in the corner, I think right here. I'm still new to making these types of videos, so if you have any thoughts, good or bad, I'd love to read them down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe so Appa doesn't starve, but now it's time to get right into the challenge. Oblivion has 61 trophies we're going for in this challenge, and we're going to include the DLC for this as well. So I got the week-long timer ready, and I launched the game. I've said this before in previous videos, but I don't really like to follow trophy guides really strictly. I like to go into it pretty blind so that I can just enjoy the game instead of just making it another trophy to check off the list. However, I did skim through a quick spoiler-free guide just to make sure that there weren't any missable trophies or anything like that I needed to be aware of. There are technically a few missable trophies, but they're really hard to miss. Plus, this game has manual saves, so we're really not going to be an issue here. Let's just kick back and enjoy the game. We kick things off with a banger cutscene where the Emperor talks about how there's a big danger coming and that these are his final days. A nice ominous introduction before we get to make our character. Your boy is a Nord who did not care that much about his appearance. This is pretty quick. I know I'm not going to see him too much, so we kind of fly past this. It turns out that we are a prisoner in some jail cell somewhere. Big Emperor Dog himself comes in and tells us he's been dreaming about us. Hello. He's apparently running from an assassination attempt, and for some strange reason, there's a hidden exit that just so happens to be in our cell. The guards tell us not to follow him, so naturally we follow him and catch up pretty quickly, and we witness them getting attacked by some assassins. We're able to pick up some gear here and arm ourselves with the weapon. We also pick up some clothes and a shield, and also get a little lockpick tutorial, which is low-key a really hard little mini game, but it's whatever. We have to choose what kind of build we want to go with this game, and because I'm extremely creative and original when it comes to these types of games, I commit to a stealth archer build, baby. First person ever to do this. Even though we're super decked out now in gear, we reach a dead end where the Emperor gives us an important amulet and says it's up to us to shut the jaws of Oblivion.
Shut the jaws of Oblivion.
He tells us that he has a final son that only one person named Joffrey knows about, so he gives us the amulet and he tells us we gotta get it to his son. After this, our homie gets murked by an assassin, and it officially launches us into our quest to save the world. We clear our way through the sewer and pop our very first trophy of the game when we exit. Technically, this game lets you fast travel wherever you want right off the rip, but I really didn't want to do this just to speedrun the game as fast as possible. I wanted to enjoy the experience at least a little bit more, so we traveled by foot to our first destination, clearing a cave that I found along the way just to get a little more familiar with the controls and get settled into the game. Finally, we arrived to a place called Wayne Priory where we run into Joffrey. We bring him up to speed and convince him to tell us where to find the Emperor's son, Martin. Of course, when we get to the place called Kvatch where he's at, everything goes wrong. It seems like the bad guys caught wind of Martin's whereabouts as well, and they summoned a giant Oblivion gate that we have to enter and shut down to get rid of the baddies. These things look super cool, but they're super annoying. They're basically these giant areas that are their own little puzzle to navigate. You have to find your way to the top of the main tower in the gate to shut it down, and it's really tricky to figure out how to get there. There are like 60 of these things in the game. Fortunately though, since this is the first one, it's pretty straightforward. We grab the stone and shut down the gate, which earns us our second trophy of the game. Now that Kvatch is liberated, we track down Martin, who low-key reminds me of Russell Crowe a little bit. Do you see it? You see it? Anyway, we convince him to come back with us and talk to Joffrey. We get back just in time to save Joffrey, who's in the middle of getting ambushed by the bad guys, and even though we save him, the enemies make off with the amulet of kings that the Emperor entrusted us with. Not a very good start in fulfilling the Emperor's wishes. This amulet is really important because it's what the new Emperor is supposed to use to secure his reign, so this is not optimal that it's been taken from us. Joffrey decides to set up a new home base at a place called Cloud Ruler Temple, which is the main station for the Blades, who are a group that protects the Emperor. Once we drop Martin off safely, Joffrey tells us to seek out a guy named Boris to learn more about how to track this amulet back down. This brings us to the Imperial City, one of the main places of interest in the world, where we meet up with Boris, who's the guy who was with us when the Emperor died. He tells us that the group of assassins who killed the Emperor are called the Mythic Dawn, and he leads us on this hunt for a bunch of books that the Mythic Dawn use that contain a secret message that we decipher to go to this tombstone. When we're there at the right time of day, it lights up to reveal the headquarters of the Mythic Dawn, which also pops trophy number 3. We do a little undercover operation and steal some robes to blend in at their headquarters, and we sneak into a meeting that's being led by this dude named Mankar Cameron. This dude has the amulet and basically disappears into this portal right after we get there and escapes right before we get caught being rogue. So naturally, we murder everyone in the entire entire cave before returning to the temple and giving Martin the secret book we deciphered that has all the secrets about the Mythic Dawn. Martin says he needs time to read through the book, and in the meantime, Joffrey sends us on an errand to a new city to try and hunt down some spies that are causing some trouble. Side note, but this guy is absolutely yoked, bro. I hope that I can look that good when I'm older one day. Anyway, we hunt down some spies and find a note on one of them talking about how they know Martin got moved to Cloud Ruler Temple and killing him is their top priority. We relay this to the boys, and then Martin tells us that he needs a couple special items if he's going to be able to conduct a ritual that's required to hunt down Mankar and the amulet he stole from us. The first item he needs is a Daedric artifact, so we head to the Shrine of Azura, one of the Daedric powers in the world. She tells us that she'll give us an artifact if we go on a quest for her. She has some old followers who got turned into vampires, and she wants us to kill them. We find the cave they're looking in, kill all of them, but I did contract some porphyria chemophilia, which we're going to come back to in a minute. This cave was the first really tough part for me, though. It made me realize that I was maybe advancing the main quest a little too quickly and was a little bit underleveled. We do get Azura's Star, though, for completing her quest, which is a goated artifact for those of you who've played Skyrim and know what I'm talking about. We take it back to Martin and earn trophy number 4 for bringing him the artifact. But before he tells us about the second item he needs for this ritual, Joffrey sends us on a mission back to a place called Bruma, saying that an Oblivion gate has arrived and we need to close it. Again, man, these gates are really tedious and annoying, so I'm going to skip a lot of this gameplay so this isn't a 10-hour long video. If you want to see a full playthrough, like I said, I live streamed all of this and I made it into a playlist here on the channel. I'll throw a link down in the description. You should definitely check out. Anyway, we close the gate and report back to Joffrey, who says that we need to recruit help from every other major city if we're going to fend off this attack on Bruma from the enemy, and he tells us to go out and rally the troops. At the same time, Martin gives us a second quest. He says the other item that he needs for the ritual is blood from a divine, and that we need to go to the tomb of Tiber Septim, who's an old emperor who became a divine. We need his blood for the ritual, but this is where I decided to pause the main quest so that I could clean up some side stuff and buff my character just a little bit more. We had picked up a good amount of side quests up to this point, so I started cleaning them up, and one of them even had us get bit and turned into a vampire, which I thought was kind of interesting. Eventually, this led us to the arena, which is a really important place for our platinum journey. The majority of the trophies in this game are broken up into completing different quest lines. A lot of side quests don't give you any trophies, but a few important areas do have trophies in their quest line, and we obviously will need to finish those to earn the platinum. The arena is basically a gladiator-style coliseum where we square off against other fighters. Even just for signing up, we already popped the 5th trophy of the game for just joining up in the arena. We face off against some opponents, and these are all pretty much the same. They're 1v1 fights that really aren't terribly hard. Every couple fights, we promote to a new rank in the arena, and we earn a trophy for it. Eventually, though, I did get stuck when I realized that I was losing health just for being out in daylight because we contracted vampirism from earlier. This absolutely sucked because I couldn't talk to any merchants or anything since they thought I looked ugly, so I explored a side quest that let me cure myself of being a vampire. Now that we did that, I'm able to finish up all of the arena battles and reach the top rank of Grand Champion. This didn't really take too long. We got a lot of gold from the fights and a good chunk of trophies, so it was pretty nice that we were able to do this first. It set us up well for the rest of the game. After this, I went back to one of our main quest objectives to get help from all of the big cities. Again, I didn't really look up and study a guide or anything, so I didn't know where the other guilds were in this world. I just knew that I needed to find them and do their quests to earn the trophies. I wanted to try and find these guilds naturally and just enjoy the game in the process, so I went around to all of the major cities and recruited help, hoping I could bump into them. Just about every city gave us the same response when we asked for help. They said they couldn't spare military help because there's an Oblivion gate right outside their walls, so we clear a bunch of gates and eventually recruit the help of every major city. This worked super well. I heard a rumor about joining the Thieves Guild, so that's where we went next. We meet up with some homies in a little graveyard, and we have to steal a diary to prove that we're worthy to join the Thieves Guild. We break in and steal it no problem and get that official invite into the guild and earn a trophy. This quest line is pretty cool. We basically need to earn enough gold stealing stuff to prove that we're ready to be trusted with a mission, and then we get a job to complete. For our first one, we have to sneak into the army's building and steal some tax documents, which doesn't really give us too much trouble, and completing this job earns us a trophy. Honestly, we kind of rinse and repeat this for the rest of the guild quest line. After this, we expose a mole in the guild by planting some fake evidence in her home, which gets us back-to-back trophies for the missions. We keep grinding, stealing enough gold to get a secret mission, and eventually we get to this big mission where we have to plant an executive order that would remove someone from the government who's getting a little too close to catching on to the Thieves Guild. The problem is that the place for this is in the area for the Mages Guild, and since I haven't done anything in that quest line yet, it's just about impossible to get into the room to plant the evidence without getting caught, no matter how hard I tried. So I decided to pivot here and try to do the Mage Guild quest, but this game absolutely sucks at telling you where you need to go for some of this stuff. Apparently, you're supposed to track down the Mages Guild in the local cities instead of joining at the main academy, which I thought was kind of stupid. But in the process of finding the local Mage Guilds, I accidentally stumbled upon the local Fighters Guild, which is another important quest line for trophies. I signed up to join, and we got a trophy for starting that quest line. After that, I found the Mages Guild and got the exact same trophy just for signing up and joining. The tough thing about the Mage Guild quest questline is that to be able to join the academy where I need to go for this Thieves Guild mission, we have to get letters of recommendation from every single town's mage guild. This is kind of a grind, but we got to get it done, man. All of these locations send you on an errand to earn their letters of rec. We have to grab a ring from a well for this one. Another one has us set up an ambush for a rogue mage who needs to be taken down. I'm not going to bore you with every single mission I did in this game, or this would be a really long video, but you're getting the general idea. We satisfy the needs of all the local guilds, and then we're able to go to the main university and become an apprentice at the Big Leagues Mage Guild, which gets us our 20th trophy of the game and also gets us one step closer to accessing that sweet top room for the Thieves Guild. We grind a bit more of the Mages Guild. We pick up a couple more trophies with missions that we do as we learn that there's this big scary necromancer who's trying to destroy the Mages Guild. Eventually, this earns us an audience with the Archmage, which means we get that access to that top room in the academy. I have that conversation with the Archmage and then do some thievery in his office before we leave and turn in this giant staff that we stole. There's some political stuff that happens just like the Thieves Guild wants because of what we did. It gets the soldiers off of their backs, and then we sneakily return the staff so that there's no harm done. Doing this promotes us in the Thieves Guild for yet another trophy, and after removing a high officer from his position, we get promoted again for another trophy, and this time we earn an audience with the Gray Fox himself, who's the leader of the Thieves Guild. He tells us that he's basically cooking up a really big heist and he needs us to get some stuff for him. Come on though, man, look at this dude with this goofy looking helmet. Of course we do what he says though, like a good little thief. We go find this big orb and then this arrowhead, and we turn them both into the Gray Fox. He's pretty vague about what he has planned, but he promotes us and gives us another trophy, so we're not really asking questions out here. After grabbing one last item for the Gray Fox in the form of some fancy boots, he calls on us to help him steal an Elder Scroll, which is the name of the game. Guys, the name of the game is an Elder Scroll. This heist is actually pretty dope. Apparently, it's one of the only missable trophies in the game because if you mess up along the mission and you don't have a save, you fail the quest line and you don't get the final Thieves Guild trophy. Anyway, we navigate some ruins before shooting our arrowhead into a statue, which opens up a secret entrance into the Imperial Guard's quarters. We come in at night, so everyone's asleep, which is big, and all we got to do is sneak into the library and grab the scroll. Apparently, the security here consists of like 2 guards that are actually awake and then a ton of blind monks. Not exactly the tightest security for one of the most powerful objects in the universe, but we're grateful for it. We grab the scroll no problem and then retrace our steps to escape. We have to take this giant jump through this little chimney, but that's what the fancy boots are for. They basically eliminate fall damage, so we survive the jump and head back to the Gray Fox to turn in the scroll. He tells us that he needs time to decipher it for something that he has planned, so I take this time to clean up some side stuff. Still over 100 hours on the timer. We're looking really good. I completed a Mages Guild quest and then turned in a Fighters Guild quest to get this trophy. I know this is scuffed and out of order, but I put like 50 hours into this game and I'm trying to put it all in one video, so I hope you're tracking with me so far. If you are tracking so far and enjoying the video, make sure you let me know down in the comments, or let me know what game you want to see me platinum next. Make sure you comment though, otherwise Appa's not getting any pets. Anyway, after this we end the Thieves Guild questline by basically witnessing a little cutscene where the Gray Fox gives up his life as a thief so that he can get back together with his old little boo thing. He gives us his ugly little cowl and makes us the guild master, earning us the final trophy for the Thieves Guild, which is absolutely big. At this point I was feeling really confident and I was really enjoying my strategy of just doing some of everything and naturally playing through the game. I know that effective speedrun strats would probably tell you to do all of each questline at once and all that stuff, but I was really enjoying just playing through the game naturally and doing whatever quests I was in the mood for, man. The world was really fun, getting to explore Cyrodiil and just learn about the characters in the world. It was really enjoyable and I'm really glad I did this. It had been a while since we had done a main quest objective and I felt like I had leveled up quite a bit, so we resume our path on the main story, which was to get the armor of Tiber Septum so that Martin can get one step closer to conducting his ritual. This mission was a little bit rough though. The ruins where the armor is hidden are guarded by a bunch of like ghost type enemies that were just a pain to kill. Eventually though, we end up freeing these 4 spirits from their bodies here in the ruins, and they team up to push us through to the room where the Tiber Septum armor lies, and we're able to secure the bag. We turn it in to Martin, who basically says thanks, but I still need more stuff from you. Go grab this big stone for me. Okay, thanks. Instead of doing that though, I went and did more stuff for the Fighters Guild, and we pop another trophy after doing more jobs for them. I haven't really explained it, but the Fighters Guild are basically a group of warriors who get hired as security and stuff like that. The missions really aren't all that. You just go to a place, fight some bad guys or some monsters, and then you get a trophy for it. This was kind of a grind though, just because there are a lot of missions to do and the storyline is pretty minimal, but we grind out a ton of quests for a good chunk of trophies, even pushing us over the halfway point for our platinum challenge. Finally, after grabbing like 9 Fighters Guild trophies, we only have 1 left, and this is where the story starts to kick in for this quest line. Apparently there's a competitor rising up who offers better results and services than the Fighters Guild. They're much stronger and just better, and they're stealing business from our homies. But before we continue the game, there was a major curveball that got thrown into our challenge. I was getting pretty overconfident in my ability to complete this under the time constraints, so I spun a wheel with challenges on ways that would make the challenge harder. It lands on a 68-hour removal, so our 1 week challenge has just become become a 100-hour challenge, which is like 4 days. This ended up leaving me with basically one more day to get half of the trophies in the game, and all of a sudden things were looking really bleak. Anyway, back to the game. We decided to go undercover and join the rival guild called the Blackwood Company to see how they're so successful. It turns out that they all rely on a hallucinogen that makes them see people as monsters, and they end up slaughtering civilians. We realized this is no bueno, and we had to destroy the tree that they used to make this drug, so we break into their headquarters and slaughter everybody on our way to the tree. Are we really any better than them though if we're just killing everybody in our path? No time for moral ambiguity. We destroy the room with the tree in it and wrap up the quest line by earning the rank of master within the Fighters Guild and earning us trophy 35. With the Fighters Guild completed, we go back to the Mage Guild where we're almost done with this quest line. As you can probably tell, each guild line really just consists of doing missions specific to them in order to climb through the ranks. Once you do missions, you promote and you get a trophy. Pretty cookie cutter type pattern. Like I said already, the entirety of the Mages Guild questline is devoted to trying to learn about this big bad necromancer and his army, learning more about what he wants and how he intends on destroying the Mages Guild. We start to hone in on his location when we get promoted to a wizard and get the trophy for it. And after this, there are only 2 more trophies we need to complete the Mage Guild questline. Unfortunately, I had to spin the wheel of challenges again. We've been spinning it every 50 subs that I got during this challenge, and this one landed on no fast travel for 30 minutes. This meant I had to travel on foot everywhere I went, just like the good Lord intended. The funny thing about this is that while I was running to my next objective for the Mage Guild, I stumbled upon the entrance to the DLC world. I had been looking for this my entire playthrough, and we literally just stumbled upon it out of nowhere. Super fortunate. There's this mysterious portal that's making people go absolutely crazy, so of course we decided to jump straight into it. We run into a guy named Haskell who appears to be the assistant to whatever god rules this realm that's known as the Shivering Isles. It's all about madness and chaos, which sounds dope. Plus we get a trophy for talking with him, and it officially kicks off our DLC journey. We're currently stuck on the outside of the city. We have to fight this big gatekeeper guy to get through. Once we kill him, we wander by foot into this big new area that we've stepped into. Finally, we arrived at this giant castle where the god man Sheol-Gorath himself is waiting for us, and it's just hard not to like this guy, man.
I'm so happy I could just tear out your intestines and strangle you with them.
Such immaculate aura from the Prince of Madness. He wants us to become his champion so that we can save his world, and he's extremely vague, but he sends us on an errand to take care of something for him. So like a good little champion, we start running after he gives us our second DLC trophy out of the 10 we need to secure. His errand consists of us clearing out this dungeon and finding these fancy crystals that power up this big resonator thing. I don't know. But on our way out of the dungeon, we get jumped by these Knights of Order, and apparently Order is kind of the main villain in this world of chaos, which I thought was kind of funny. Trophy 3 in the DLC is secured after we take them down though, and once we update Boss God Chief Dude, he tells us to talk to the 2 big rulers in this area, the Duke of Mania and the Duchess of Dementia. As you can guess, these 2 are both super weird. The Mania guy is absolutely crazy, and he sends us on a random errand to fetch his chalice, which we end up picking up no problem. Meanwhile, the Duchess of Dementia is convinced that somebody wants to betray her, so we have to hunt down like 20 different citizens and interrogate them until we finally uncover that somebody actually does want to betray her, so maybe it pays off to be a little paranoid sometimes. The Duchess absolutely wipes her, and now that we're acquainted with these 2, the boss man gives us our next objective. There's a giant fire that we need to light up for another lore specific reason. We head over and lead this lovely group of ladies into the center of this building where one of them sacrifices themselves to be kindling for the fire. Seems pretty dark, but it gets the job done, and the flames are lit, which means we pick up another trophy and get even closer to our 61 trophy goal. This brings us to another interesting fork in the road. Sheol-Gorath, the boss man, wants us to overthrow either the Duke of Mania or the Duchess of Dementia, and the tricky thing about this is that there's a trophy for getting each of them overthrown. So in order to get both of these, we make a manual save, and then we decide to go the Duke route first. To overthrow the maniac homie, we sneak into this building and grab some poison that we use to put into the Duke's food. Once he eats it and croaks, we collect his blood and conduct a ritual to become the next Duke in his place. The Duchess, though, interrupts this ceremony and basically vows to destroy us because of what we've done, but it doesn't matter because we get that sweet, sweet trophy and instantly reload our save so that we can overthrow the Duchess. Overthrowing her seems pretty straightforward. We just need to kill her and cut her heart out naturally, but she's super paranoid and has an impersonator in her bed instead of her. We end up running after and track her down no problem, going back to the boss man and doing the process all over again to replace her role. We get the exact same response, but on the opposite end though. The Duke comes in and swears to avenge her by killing us, and then he runs away, but who cares, man? We lock down that trophy and we keep going. Now that we've overthrown the Duchess, we got to stop this army of Order threatening to, like, I don't know, man, make things more stable. I don't know. We rebuild the gatekeeper that we destroyed at the beginning to keep him out, and we earn a trophy for it, and then we help some of the boss man's army from some Knights of Order. Everything Everything is building up to this really big war that's brewing, and when we talk to the homie, he goes absolutely demon mode and just vanishes out of nowhere. His assistant tells us that we have to reclaim his throne and become the next Daedric Prince of Madness. But in order to do this, we have to find some pieces to build this powerful staff. We take down the Duke in the process, and we get so close to the finish line before encountering the toughest challenge in this entire journey. The DLC culminates with this giant boss fight in the courtyard where we have to fend off these knights and then defeat the final evil boss that's threatening to destroy the realm. But every time I get to the end and trigger the final boss fight, my game would crash and I'd have to start over. Now, my game had crashed a few times in this playthrough here and there, nothing too extreme or out of the ordinary though. But I did a quick search on Reddit and I saw that a ton of other people had experienced the exact same issue. After the most recent update to the game, which was a day before I started playing the DLC, when you get to the final part of the DLC, the game just crashes for everybody. And no matter how many times I tried, no matter what I did, I couldn't get through the mission. And this really sucked for two reasons. The first reason is that we're obviously locked out of the rest of the DLC, so we can't get that last trophy and get 61 trophies. But the second reason this sucked is because for me to continue the platinum journey, I had to reload a save like 10 hours earlier before I entered the DLC area. I lost a bunch of weapons and levels that I spent 10 hours grinding, and it was just super discouraging to have to revert back to such an older save. But it's what we had to do, man. We go back to Cyrodiil and continue the mage quest line. We do another fetch quest to get a couple items, and we earn our penultimate trophy for this quest line by promoting up to the rank of Master Wizard. This kicks off the final mission for the mages. I don't know why, but the Archmage just decides to absolutely combust right after he tells us to hunt down the Necromancer, and he says that afterwards we'll be crowned the new Archmage. I have no idea why he did that, but we find the bad guy no problem in some ruins. We give him that 10,000 stab treatment, and then we get the trophy for completing the mage's quest line. We are cruising at this point. All we have left now is the Dark Brotherhood quest line and a couple main quest missions. I had heard plenty of rumors by this point in game that to summon the Dark Brotherhood, you have to murder someone. Since we had already finished the Thieves Guild quest line, I picked a random thief and gave him a little bit deeper of a sleep, if you know what I'm saying. Doing this does indeed get us a nice visit from a representative of the Dark Brotherhood. He tells us about a homie named Rufio that we have to kill before we can get an official invite into the club. We give him a nice little poke while he's asleep and get another visit from the guy where he gives us the password to their secret door. We're able to get in and we get the first trophy of the quest line. This also kicks off my favorite quest line of the entire game. I enjoyed the main quest quite a bit. Some of the other guilds were okay, but the Dark Brotherhood quests are by far the most creative, the most fun. It was just a great time. We enter the headquarters and meet the gang to get a lay of the land. We basically have to go on missions to kill certain individuals, and each mission has an optional objective that can get us a bonus for pay. There are a ton of these though, so we're gonna breeze through them. I'm not really gonna cover them a ton in the video. I'm going really fast. Check out the live streams if you want to see them. They're absolutely worth checking out. We get our sea legs and assassinations by murking a couple people, and just like the other guilds, it's the same idea. We pick up trophies as we finish these missions and promote through the ranks. All of these missions felt really unique though. There's a quest where we fake an assassination on one guy. We take this guy down in his own house. We also do my favorite mission in the entire game where we enter a house with 5 other people and have to try and take each of them down without getting caught. It's like an Among Us style mission that was super fun, and after a few more missions, we get a secret message from our original homie that recruited us, telling him to meet up. He tells us that there's a mole in the Brotherhood, and he orders us to clean house and murder the entire community. Because we're a good little assassin and we follow orders, we go to the Dark Brotherhood sanctuary and we slaughter our new friends. Again, man, lots of murder in this game. Are we really the good guy here? Anyway, doing this earns us a place in the higher up organization called the Black Hand, kind of like the bosses of the Dark Brotherhood. Of course, this promotion comes with a trophy, and we're so close to our end goal. This leads to a really long chain of missions though that are super grindy. We have to visit a dead drop to get our orders of who we're supposed to kill, and then we get our reward from a new dead drop with new instructions, and so on and so forth. This goes on forever, man. We have like 8 missions that we have to do before we finally get confronted by our OG homie. Apparently, some traitor switched out our dead drops halfway through and gave us different instructions, and we've been assassinating every member of the Black Hand, the group that we thought we were a part of. We go off to try and find him, but in the process, the Black Hand kills Lucian, our homie, thinking that he was the traitor, which is big sad. We like Lucian a lot, but we get another trophy and we only have 1 mission left for the Dark Brotherhood. We end up going straight to the Night Mother, kind of like a cosmic entity that the Black Hand worships, and it's that moment where the traitor exposes himself and tries to kill everyone in the circle. Unfortunately for him, we give him that big 1,000 stab combo and we put an end to the threat, which finishes the Dark Brotherhood questline and enters the home stretch of the challenge with 14 hours remaining. Now we just gotta complete the main questline, man. We go to another set of ruins to find this big stone that Martin needs for his ritual. Nothing too special about this. We turn it in, and Martin's officially decked out in full battle gear. He tells us the only way to find this amulet is to let the enemy attack, because they're going to open a giant Oblivion gate and we need to destroy it if we want to reach the baddie who stole our jewelry. Other people don't like this plan because we're basically putting people in harm's way, but we have to let the enemies attack the nearby city, and then we enter this massive Oblivion gate. To add pressure to the situation, we only have like 15 minutes to destroy it, otherwise this massive machine will break through and wreak havoc. It was a pretty good thing that I got good at speedrunning these though. There are dozens of them, and like I said, they're super tedious. But we end up grabbing the giant stone in the middle and power down the gate, securing another victory royale and earning another trophy for the boys. Now Martin has everything he needs for the ritual in order for us to access Mankar Cameron and retrieve the Amulet of Kings. We step through and navigate our way through the portal, and to our homie, he has a huge random monologue that leads to a pretty anticlimactic boss fight. Honestly, I kind of expected it to be harder than it was, but it was not that bad at all. We escape with the amulet and return it to Martin. He tries to go to the Imperial Palace to be crowned as king, but the biggest baddie of all, Mehrunes Dagon, launches an attack on the city just in time, and this homie is massive. Martin realizes what must be done, and he leads us to the heart of the city where he's able to use his abilities to transform into this giant dragon and destroy the baddie. It is this epic cutscene, but he does appear to sacrifice himself in the process. There's this great cutscene where Martin narrates that he's honored to be able to sacrifice himself for the safety of his kingdom, and during this cutscene we wrap up the only 2 trophies left remaining, which is huge.
The last of the Septims passes now into history.
Hey!
I go gladly, for I know my sacrifice is not in vain. I take my place with my father and my father's fathers.
We platinum the game with 12.5 hours to spare, obviously still lacking that last DLC trophy. You can free roam after you complete the game, but that's not really important for this video. What is important though is that I did not have to shave my head and I got the platinum trophy. Literally right now as I'm writing this script, I pulled up the game just to see if I could get that last DLC trophy, and I actually was able to just barely kill the final boss and pop the trophy, but the game immediately crashed as the dialogue started. But hey, we got that clean 100% completion. I honestly really enjoyed Oblivion though. I think it helped a ton that I didn't look up a strict guide or anything like that. I just let myself enjoy the game and do quests as I stumbled upon them naturally. This is a really easy platinum, and I would highly recommend playing it. Even if you don't want to get the platinum and just enjoy the game, or if you like trophy hunting, this is a good game for you to play. I heavily prefer Skyrim to this game though. A lot of people have told me that Oblivion walked so Skyrim could run, and I definitely see what they mean after playing through this. I would still recommend it though. Like I said, you'll get the platinum naturally as you play through the game, so it was really fun and just naturally very enjoyable. It was great to be able to live stream this for you guys as well and stream every part of the journey. I hope you enjoyed that live stream, like the 40 hours that we streamed, and I hope you enjoyed this video if you're making it this far into the end. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown of us getting this platinum. Help me feed my dog by letting me know down in the comments if you have any thoughts on the video, good or bad. I want these videos to be as entertaining as possible for you guys, so if you have any thoughts or if there are any other games you want to see me platinum, make sure you let me know as well. You should definitely check out this video that you haven't seen, but for now, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you know that Jesus loves you, and so do I. We'll see you in the next one.